Hey Doychin, how are you doing today?
Elle, I'm doing great. This a lot of vibing, a lot of people. It's just really impressive event. Love it.
Nice. Well, Doychin, you've been responsible for award-winning e-commerce websites. During your time at Virgin Media O2, you've been responsible for taking on the customer challenges through a rapid experimentation strategy, which has made Virgin Media a pioneer in testing. I'd love to know, as we're here to learn about your AI journey and experimentation, more about that experimentation program at Virgin Media O2.
Awesome, yeah. Well, we're very fortunate Virgin Media O2 because we made it in terms of our experimentation at the core of everything that we do. But the journey wasn't so easy because maybe 5 years ago, the experimentation program did not exist. There were people that were running experiments, but all the experiments had to be signed off by finance so that actually there was a success metric attached to it. And it was very hard to try and innovate and do bold stuff. But basically after that, there was a change of mindset. We started small. There was a lot of prove the value of things, but going bolder, going outside of the telco industry. Because telco is not famous for being innovative. Telco is not famous for being the front foot. But why don't we just get inspired by those who are doing it already? So we took that approach. We stopped looking at our competitors. We stopped looking internal. We started looking at your Uber, Apple, Google, and start adapting some of the patterns there. Start experimenting, and we saw incredible results. Start growing our program, and 5 years later, we have a very robust experimentation program across all our platforms with over 30 people behind it. So it's definitely worth a Netflix series on this one, definitely.
I love that, taking it intergalactic, as they say. I think AI is really helping brands, escalate into orbit. And at Optimizely, we've had AI as part of our capabilities for a long time through contextual multi-arm bandits. And I'd love to know how you're currently using AI to really impact each stage of the experimentation lifecycle as well.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we actually managed to scale and tap into the opportunities of AI since we onboarded Optimizely. I'm not saying that because you invited me here, but I'm saying it for a fact. That's true. Because with the algorithm that Optimizely provides, like multi-arm bandits and stats accelerator, there's a machine learning behind it that powers it. So that gave us a really nice insight of, okay, there is something behind that. So we'll be able to create multiple variants at scale and understand what works from a customer perspective. To give you a comparison, 5 years ago, our velocity was around 40 to 50 tests a year. And now, last year, we concluded the year with over 600.
Wow.
And this year, we're on track to surpass this, 600 tests. And that wouldn't have been possible with the machine learning algorithms from Optimizely that are giving us this leverage. But also, we start looking at how can we embed AI in all the stages of the life cycle of experiment. And I'll simplify those. Discovery, development, and then analysis. In discovery, we run multiple trials with some of the tools that are out there to get ideas for solving customer problems, for building hypotheses, for running our hypotheses through the AI models that are publicly available out there, just to see if there is blind spots, just to see if we're missing things. And last year, we came up with a really maybe over 20 different ideas from AI as a test. We run them all. Nothing. Really, no impact. Customers were not bothered by all these suggestions that AI came. And I think it just shows the maturity of AI. This year, we're having a slightly different approach. We're not using it for ideating and coming up with ideas for us, because there is still a lot of context that's missing from a customer perspective, and we're using it for the next phase, which is development. So AI in the last year or so has been incredible in helping the developers, coming up with really quick and fancy functions, new ways, leaner ways of executing the code. So we've managed to save so much time by just implementing some of the AI agents for development. When it comes to analysis, the third phase, We're still tapping into a few bits, exploring, because there's some limitations around that. I'm absolutely aware of it. However, the biggest opportunity comes with displaying the data, making sure that it takes you to the right trend and takes you to the right problem that needs to be solved. So we still need to do some work on that front, but these are like how we embed in AI in each of the life cycles of experimentation.
I love that. And with any hypothesis, it's not always the obvious variant. So really great how AI is helping you to pick the right example there as well.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear about some more examples of particular experiments where you've leveraged AI and perhaps some of the results you've seen to date.
Yep, absolutely. I think when it comes to experimentation, because it's so customer-facing, you need to start with the customer problem in mind. You have to make sure that you're running experiments through AI, or not through AI, to solve a particular problem. And to give you an example, one of the biggest problems with the broadband industry is explaining the speeds. So, do you know what speed do you have of your contract, people in public? Yeah, maybe, no? Yeah, exactly. So nobody goes to the pub or nobody comes to a festival and talks about broadband speeds, because it's a bit boring. But that creates an issue for us, because then it's very hard to explain the difference between the different speeds. So what we did is we came up with an AI summary, an experiment, which basically allows customer to click a big fat button, AI summary, and pass on to the AI to explain what's the difference, what's the benefit of each speed that we sell. Guess what? 14% interaction rate, 1/4, tiny. It was a massive button, you couldn't miss it. And it was like, people would be engaging with it every day. No, people couldn't be bothered again. It's like, maybe there is not that much of an excitement when it comes to broadband, so that's why it's very important, think about your industry in the perspective of the customer life cycle as well. But out of those 14% that interact with the AI summary, we've managed to increase all the conversion rate 3 times. So what comes out is that AI is doing a better job at explaining the different broadband speeds than what humans we can do, right? And this is a really big takeaway for us. We're going to continue experimenting with this, because it was just like kind of a first or second iteration. There is a bit more that we can learn on, but it's a great example of starting with the customer problem speeds, explaining them, then making something which is really quick and fast. AI summary doesn't need to be a massive integration that takes months. Something simple out there, and then move fast. Experiment with it and see what the results are.
I love that. And switching gears now, I think with any intergalactic mission, there can be some challenges along the way.
Yep.
So I'd love to learn, like, what were your top challenges and how have you faced them and how are you overcoming them as well?
When it comes to AI, the biggest challenge probably is around security. Because there are lovely tools out there, there are very advanced third-party providers, but then it comes down to the security element of actually integrating those providers into your ecosystem, providing them with data about your customer, providing them with the access to something that's very integral to the business. Right? So this is a very, very big challenge, which basically stops us of tapping into some of the latest advanced elements of AI, because we need to be sure from a security that all the touch points are covered, right? That's the biggest one. Second one is just making people use it. It's making people use it, and there's not a lot of time in the day, and we're all super busy and running from a meeting to a meeting, and sometimes it's really hard to just create a habit of using AI. And it all starts internally, basically, of just like creating that curiosity of what and how AI can make our lives easier from a work perspective. So there is a lot of pushing of just like, why don't you use AI for this? Is there a chance to use AI for this internal process, etc.? So there is that element of creating a habit as a challenge. And then the third one, which I see, is the results. The results of AI. AI is expensive, and what we've seen is like at the end of the day, it's not kind of a reimagining the world in an essence that we all want it to be. Maybe in a few years, yes, but that's why we need to be mindful when we invest a lot of money, when we put a lot of effort and time into this. The expectation needs to be realistic. We cannot expect to completely triple the growth because we integrate with an AI provider, let's say.
Nice. I think it's really important to have a strong use case so that you can realize the benefits of AI as well.
Yeah.
And I think for the audience here today, it would be really great to learn, how do you start using AI? What are the low-hanging fruits or quick wins that they can apply today?
Yeah, again, it all starts to the individual use of AI. So I think we all need to be using AI in order to preach about it or talk about it or engage in a productive conversations. So I've definitely gave the mandate to my team to be using AI on a daily basis, but also gave them the wild card to go and sign up for the latest models. Your most expensive LLMs out there, your ChatGPT, Claude, VO3 or Midjourney, they're quite expensive, but go and sign up and expense it, because this is part of your job. You need to be assessing the power of these tools out there in order to be able to come up with creative ways that can unlock some potential on our side. So go and expense your subscription to ChatGPT. It's a really powerful thing. It's small, but powerful. Second thing, which we did, is we run multiple workshops internally within the team, and how can we use AI? And honestly, the results were surprising, because we started like this big thing of we gonna reimagine and reinvent the Virgin Media business, to actually the best use of AI is creating automated templates to engage with legal. Because the way how we engage with legal is pretty much very structured, same-ish most of the time, with a few changes. So why don't we just automate this? And why don't we just make it as part of our standard journeys? So yeah, workshops on this, get subscription paid from your business. And third piece, which I just want to share with you, is challenge other teams. Bring them to a cross-collaboration sessions and ask them how AI can change their workload and how AI can change their productivity. Not because you're going to solve it personally, but because that's going to be able to just clear the air and start seeing some big trends where you can potentially start tapping into and create a really nice synergy between the multiple teams of your organization. That's basically it.
Great. And for the audience here today, what would you say are the 3 actionable tips that they can take away and apply when they're thinking about AI in their experimentation program?
Well, basically, I mean, like those 3 that I mentioned, right? But also for me, when you think about experimentation and AI right now, the biggest thing is like, don't expect a single win to completely change your company. Have a mindset of slow, small, iterative changes, because AI is here to stay, and you're not going to just solve it with one single shot. There's no silver bullet. Make sure that you strap yourself with some patience, strap yourself with like kind of a expectation that along the line, along the way, you'll be able to solve it and you'll be able to find the right answer for you. But keep exploring. Maybe set yourself some timelines of 90 days, right? And then after that, just see what happens. Don't bet and rely that AI with one single shot is going to be the nirvana that everybody's selling to us.
I love that. Thank you so much, Doychin. We love what you're doing. We love working with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Elle. Thank you.
Thank you. And if anyone would like to grab a smoothie, join us around the corner at the Optimizely booth. We'd love to see you and carry on the conversation with Doychin as well.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.